is Ani Bhalekar, and I run the mobility and IoT practice inside of Accenture Digital for the Southeast Asia region. So today we're here to talk about the possibilities and redefining the value in the transportation and logistics industry and how IoT is contributing towards that. We have a special guest, Pak Kumar from Jakarta, who I'll invite on stage shortly. But before we get into that, I'd love to walk you through what IoT means for Accenture and how we go through the process of defining value for our clients. So inside of Accenture Digital, which is a fairly new organization, we think of IoT as the overlapping intersect between analytics, interactive, and mobility technologies. Analytics is extremely important because the data that comes out of IoT-based sensors needs to be analyzed, and you have to derive actionable insights, right, for it to make sense to everyone involved. Interactive technologies are what we define as user experience design, user interaction. There's no sense in making a lot of, there's no sense in creating a lot of insights if you're not able to crisply show these to your end users and have your end users actually implement the recommendations that come out of these insights. And obviously mobility, right? That's where the genesis of IoT as technologies lie. Based on our current practice, we've got 5,000 mobility and IoT strategy professionals globally. Now this is important because a lot of times my clients come to me and ask me, Ani, what does IoT mean, right? We hear about IoT all the time, everything from connected coffee mugs to connected cars, right? So it sounds like everything almost. And when something sounds like everything, it almost sounds like nothing. So we've got over 5,000 professionals globally that focus on defining what IoT actually means to specific industries and specific clients. Following the definition, we've got over 30,000 professionals that help make it real, right? So we are in a very unique position to go from the ideation, from the strategy of definition of what IoT means for specific clients to enabling specific outcomes for these clients. To date, we've derived $100 billion in either savings or new revenue generated for our clients globally. And this has all happened within the last couple of years since Accenture Digital as a group was created. So all of these numbers are fine, right? Everyone talks about the billions and the trillions of dollars and sensors and bytes that IoT will generate over the next few years. The real question is, where and how does IoT evolve, right? Today, most of our clients are squarely focused on improving asset utilization, right? The onus of IoT implementations is on operational efficiency. And that's fine, right? There's a lot of investment that's gone into creating and building these assets. So obviously companies and firms want to focus on optimizing these. But it really starts to get exciting when you go to the next step, where through these assets and through the power of IoT, one is able to create new products and services. So if you are a farmer, instead of now acquiring a dozen tractors to plow your land, you're now starting to think of potentially using a tractor as a service, right? Which is a brand new paradigm. And this is only possible because of IoT technologies. A tractor as a service. I mean, it kind of sounds funny, but it's actually real. I mean, we are making this real for our clients in the region even. This enables new products and services not only for the recipient of IoT technologies, in this case the farmer, but also to the manufacturer of the tractors, for instance. The next logical evolution of IoT tech from beyond just as a service is to go towards an outcome-based economy. And this is really where IoT shines. Using the same example of the farmer and the tractors, the outcome that the farmer or the farming company is seeking is really not the number of tractors that they have on their land or whether I can actually have tractors as a service. It is truly plowed land. So because of IoT, because you're able to track in real time what specific outcomes have been derived, you for the first time are able to conceive and deploy an outcome as a service. So think of cloud land as a service. This is a brand new paradigm, and it might seem futuristic, but it's actually happening, and we are actually helping our clients across geographies enable outcomes as a service. Last but not the least, the fourth step, which is, I guess, utopia, right, more or less. I haven't seen personally any of our clients get there yet, but a lot of them are on the way, is being autonomous, right, where you're able to match supply and demand continuously and enable those outcomes as a service without human intervention. So this is a little bit utopian, right? I haven't seen anyone, like I said, get to step 4, but this truly is how IoT is evolving and will evolve going forward. So how do we enable these, right? How do we enable a service-based economy? How do we enable an outcome-based economy for our clients? We're focused on 3 pillars. The first, and the most important, if you ask me, is the people, right? The people who make it real. And when I refer to people, I'm talking to not only the services that Accenture offers in terms of consulting and strategy, of analytics and a platform, but I'm also referring to the people that actually use IoT, right? These are the people on the ground who've been working on building technologies, as an example, for the last 30 years, but for the first time now are really empowered with the data to make their jobs more efficient, to make them more productive. And if you leave these people out of the equation, you're losing a big part of the value of what IoT can actually offer. So change management, training programs, enabling people with the benefits and the joys of playing with that new shiny toy is a big part of IoT. The second, obviously, is the industry-specific applications. We've been working with our clientele for a better part of half century, right? So we understand our client requirements, our client industries really, really well. Based on our understanding, we have curated a bunch of industry-specific verticals across industry groups that meets the need of specific clients. An example is a connected mine. Now that's a very specific offering that meets the need of mining clients. But we've got a bunch of these that I'll go over in the next slide that are curated to be specific and not generic. What we're going to do a deep dive on today with Pak Kumar is our connected fleet offering, right? Which enables higher efficiencies, better productivity in third-party logistics companies, in leasing companies like PT Setup. And last but not the least is the platform, right? We have curated a platform without needing to start from scratch that enables IoT across the board for all of these different verticals and more. These verticals are not necessarily only the ones that Accenture as a company creates, but also innovation that comes out of Block 71, for example. Innovation that comes out of players like Amazon and Microsoft and Intel, who are all strategic partners of ours. And obviously innovation that comes from the clients. So the platform is one that we've built on top of Microsoft Azure and Amazon AWS. We don't reinvent the wheel by any means, but we enable the ecosystem to innovate on top of this platform. So a quick overview of the 5 industry verticals that we are focused on today. 3 of them are very well entrenched, which are transportation, spaces, and operations. I'm not going to drain this slide by any means because I am extremely eager to get our esteemed guest on stage to talk about what we've done specifically with fleet management. But throughout the globe, we see a focus today on optimizing the transportation industry, the spaces industry, which is any space that is either indoors or even semi-indoors, like a stadium, and connected operations. Operations is another term for industrial IoT, which has been the genesis of IoT thus far. So these are the verticals where we've built these specific industry offerings that we'll talk to you about with a deep dive on connected fleet. The evolution has been in health and also in connected commerce. So we've started to build these offerings that are focused on remote patient monitoring, aging populations, and from a commerce perspective, using blockchain technology, which, as obviously a lot of you have heard, is the enabling technology behind Bitcoin. So the first 3 verticals are the ones where we see the most maturity in the market. And the last two are where we are seeing continuous evolution happen. So without further ado, to do a deep dive on what we're currently doing in Indonesia with fleet management, I would love to invite Pak Kumar, who is the CFO of PT Sera. Please give him a warm hand.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good afternoon. Hello, Singapore. It's very quiet. It's not the devil's hour yet. You know, I'm from another neighboring country rather. But I've been working also in another neighboring country for the last 14 years. So there's a lot of connectivity outside the IT world too. And as a finance person, and I hear a lot of things, you know, IoT, heavy jargon for me today, you know, and I'm in my 50s. It's great to be in the company of so many of these youngsters here. We only talk one language. We only talk one language. You know what the language is, right? Anything we do must have returns or value creation.
That's right.
These guys don't come in cheap anyway. Okay, let me give you a bit of insight into what we do so that you get a perspective, and then I'll do a bit of I'll do a bit of a deep dive on what we have done along with Accenture, okay? Let me introduce the company itself. Okay, PT Serasi Autoraya. Anyone from Indonesia? Ada, eh? Selamat siang. Okay, PT Serasi Autoraya is a fully owned subsidiary of Astra International. Many of you would know Astra International is one of the largest entities, the largest conglomerates in Indonesia. They have in excess of 200,000 employees, and they operate businesses in many areas, from automotive to property to financing to heavy equipment, mining, energy. You name it, they are there, okay? So we are a fully owned subsidiary. What do? We are Indonesia's largest short-term rental company, short and long-term rental company. We have a fleet of 30,000 cars. We have got 3 business portfolios, transport solutions. We have about 30,000 cars, 9,000 drivers, and by this I mean we own the cars and we manage the cars. We also manage the drivers. The drivers come under our payroll, okay? We've got about 9,000 motorcycles. We also operate in the used car business. I was told it's not nice jargon, so I'm supposed to use pre-owned cars. But Anil tells me that now it's known as pre-loved cars. We sell about 40,000 cars. We operate in both the retail sector, showrooms via Mobil 88, and then we also operate in the auction houses, iBid. That's the used car business. Then we are also in the logistics business, the topic of discussion today. Okay, we are one of Indonesia's largest providers of logistics. We encompass a lot of activities: warehousing, forwarding, sea shipments, land transportation, and a small courier service. We have about 11 vessels, including ro-ros and LCTs and all that stuff. We manage a lot of shipment of automotive vehicles within Indonesia, as well as we also do forwarding volumes in excess of about 200,000 vehicles, both imports and exports. So that gives you an insight into the company. Now, given the diversity of our operations, we are in so many businesses, huge fleet, and the span of coverage. Indonesia is a huge archipelago. It takes you 3-4 days to get from one location to another. We were looking at a number of things. Cost issues are always there. Compounding that, we have got customers who are always insisting cost efficiency, cost efficiency, cost efficiency. There are customers who insist every year for a 5% or 10% reduction in cost. Okay, now you understand why I only speak that lingua franca. Okay. Margins are getting thinner. Customers are begging that the cost should be coming down. What are your efficiencies? Asking for more transparency. The Indonesian infrastructure itself gives you a huge challenge. You know, on top of it, we have the disruptions that are taking place. The ride-sharing applications, the ride-hailing operations, and all that. We don't have a lot of money to burn, you see. Okay. So given this context, you know, we all knew we had to do something. You know, we go through a transformation program, we go through a planning exercise. What's our next level? What's our next horizon? What's our next landscape? Typical of Astra. Yeah? Okay. The board of directors embarked on a transformation program. Okay, across the entire business portfolio. Okay, a 5-year or a 10-year transformation program, and this is where we engage Accenture in coming up with the digital blueprint as to how we can sort of transform the businesses going forward, okay? And one of the projects that we're going to discuss is the IoT project that we did in the logistics sector. I haven't got much time. Okay, let me do a bit of a deep dive on the logistics sector, since we're going to talk about that. As I mentioned, you know, we have got a number of companies. We have got, you know, we operate under brand name Serlock. We have got Serasi Logistics Indonesia that manages the land transportation and forwarding. We have got about 2,000 vehicles, 1,600 drivers up there. We've got Serasi Shipping that manages, you know, shipments of heavy equipment. We have got PT Harmony Mitra that manages the entire logistics arm of one of the Indonesia's major heavy equipment suppliers, that is UT itself. So we do heavy equipment units as well as parts distribution. And then we have Toyo Fuji, a joint venture with the Japanese companies, where we do shipment of domestic shipment of cars. And then we have Toyo Fuji Logistics Indonesia, where we do the forwarding arrangements of both imports and export automotive units. Just to give you an insight in the operational dynamics, 2,000 trucks, 1,600 drivers, number of warehouses, 130, 12.6 hectares, 11 vessels. We do across Indonesia, as you can see. We do both land transportation covering the major islands and covering the major cities. So it's quite a wide span, okay? And generally, you know, when we talk about the IoT project, we are particularly referring to one particular company that we did just as an example here, and that is Serasi Logistics Indonesia, where we have about 2,000 trucks and 1,600 units, and where we service customers across various industries, FCMG, heavy equipment, the mining sector, and all that stuff, okay? The next slide. As I mentioned, given the scale and context of the issues and the operations that we had earlier spoken about, okay, we needed to do something. We needed to do something very drastic, okay, so that we can get a sustainable, what is that we have to do to ensure, you know, the transformation program, all that, to have a sustainable growth business model. What is that, okay? To have that platform, what are the objectives that we need to hit? We need to have a cost-robust platform. Okay, we need to have something to make sure that we are cost-effective and efficient. We need to make sure our deliveries are safe and secure. Okay, we need to make sure our vehicles are fully utilized. Drivers' productivity is up there. Okay, downtime is minimized. We need to make sure there's reliability. We need to make sure that we continuously improve and innovate our processes. Okay, and then we need to make sure that we have got new, you know, avenues for generating revenue, new products, new offerings, new services, okay? So given all this, we need to go just beyond GPS tracking. You know, we need to capture a lot of information. We need to do a number of things a lot more different than what we used to do, okay? Now, let me just go and talk on a few issues here, given that I've got 6 more minutes up there. Let me get on to the next slide. Okay, the transformation program that I spoke about is known as Fleet Management System. It's still, you know, it's still ongoing, okay? And it encompassed a wide area of operations, okay? We sort of re-looked at a number of things, how we manage our vehicles, how we do our driver management, how do our driver scheduling and all that. So there are a number of things that we did, okay? And we did development of a number of front-end applications, mobile apps and web-based apps and all that stuff, okay? But the IoT component of this is that we place the dongle in each of the vehicles that we have to capture, that's designed to capture, not only to track and monitor information, but also capture a wide range of information pertaining to the vehicles, pertaining to the drivers, okay? And you can see that right there in the control room where the screen shows the map and the locations of all that stuff, okay? The real-time information is displayed in the dashboard, includes actionable insights on route fencing, inappropriate driving, predictive maintenance, route optimization, etc., etc., okay? As I mentioned, Indonesia is a huge archipelago. You're going to take so many routes. We do businesses with a lot of customers. We carry cargo that is very, very attractive. Some of the cargoes can cost 400, 500, 600,000 US dollars. Some of them get hijacked. Okay, so we have got sensors all over the place. Okay, and we are in a position to be able to know where the vehicle is, do appropriate vehicle tracking, as you can see in the next slide itself. Okay. So we get insights into where the vehicles are, and then if there are any accidents, we sort of, comes up with a blip up there. A call is made to verify whether those accidents are, really accidents or some issues. And then if it's verified, it gets onto the next indicator. Then if there's theft, the moment, it stalls, or the moment it's damaged, we know there's a blip there, we make a contact, okay? And then we are also in a position to look at, the event history for each single vehicle at the same time. The next slide, please. And then being able to track the entire journey of the vehicle, okay? But more importantly, we are not just talking about real-time tracking, we're talking about capturing of information that gives you a whole lot of information on your vehicles and all the driver behavior on the routes, which routes are friendly to your maintenance, which routes are dangerous, which routes are unsafe, which drivers drive recklessly, and also provide information where we are able to offer new products and services, or even create a different regime of pricing that our customers may find it more relevant and more appropriate to them. Given that, I think at the end of the day, what I would like to say is this, okay? At the end of the day, as I mentioned, being a finance person, to me, IoT is just not about technology. A lot has been said about it. It's about people, and it's about, the outcomes that you achieve. What are the results? Okay. With that, I'd like to pass it on to Anil.
Thank you, Kumar. No, that's exactly right. And this is really what IoT is about. This is really where the benefits of IoT shine. In this specific case, right, we've seen cost reduction. Obviously, we are able to better manage the driver. We are able to better manage the fleet of vehicles. But truly, at the end of the day, it is about the ROI that it provides to your business through these mechanisms. A couple of other data points on where we are with the project today, right? We've integrated with 6 enterprise systems, which were traditionally siloed, and brought real-time fleet data to these systems. We've covered over 5 million kilometers over the last couple of months already, right? These are 5 million kilometers that are tracked in real time on actual vehicles.
Right.
We've implemented on 3 islands. I think
That's
it's
right.
Java,
Kalimantan,
Sumatra, and
Sumatra.
Kalimantan. And this is agnostic of the make of the vehicle, agnostic of the OEM of that specific vehicle. And we've done this in a fairly non-disruptive way to the actual vehicle itself. We haven't opened up or broken any operational engineering systems. It's just simply through the dongle that Kumar talked about that plugs in nicely to the OBD port. So where do we go next, right? The opportunities are tremendous, and this is exactly what Kumar was talking about, right? All the way from asset utilization, predictive maintenance, through connected insurance, right? Why shall one underwrite a vehicle that's been driven more and more aggressively the same as a vehicle that's been driven less and less aggressively. So we are now for the first time able to curate that data and provide that to the underwriting insurance company asking for a better deal for PT Sera overall. But these are just examples.
Yeah.
We are today with technology and with IoT where we're not limited by technology, we're actually limited by the power of our imagination, right? So the bottom line for us is to really take, and the next step for us is to really take our clients from good to great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.